Thank you for joining us today. I'm Stephen Aquario, the Executive Director of the New York State Association of Counties. New York State Association of Counties represents local government in New York State and has been in this business for nearly 100 years. We're very proud to serve our local governments in the state of New York. In New York, there are many counties who operate with boards of supervisors, and there's nearly 300 towns that are part of the NYSAC family. Today, I'm joined by the Bonadio group, and we'll hear from Bonadio about some new programs that we have for our smaller levels of governments. And I assume that this could apply to our counties as well, our smaller counties, and certainly smaller towns or any smaller levels of government who have experienced what's called the Great Resignation. All across our country, COVID has brought havoc in our communities. We've lost some of our family members. Many of us have gotten sick. Others have decided that this should be the end of their public service career and choosing to do something else, whether it's to retire and enjoy their life or to pursue other interests outside of government. That leaves a gap. That leaves a need to provide what's called a very important financial services aspect of public service, accounting. And with us here today to talk about a new co-sourcing accounting program for town and small governments. And with us here today to talk about this great, innovative new program to assist our government officials is Randy Shepard, the government practice leader of Bonadio. Randy, I'll turn it over to you to introduce your team and walk us through this new innovative approach.
Great. Thank you very much, Steve. We here at Bonadio are so happy to partner with NYSAC on many different endeavors, and this is no different, and we're very excited to share this opportunity. So yes, I'm the practice leader for the team and the statewide practice, and with that, we oversee all the work that happens in New York State governmental wise. With me is our senior counsel, Ken Pink Sr., who has started this practice with the firm and has led many of the endeavors to this point in time. So I'm very happy to be taking over for him in this role. We also have Ken Pink Jr., and yes, they are related. He is part of our outsourced accounting team, and he is going to run the demo today. And his role here really is part of the implementation and putting in place team related to this in-tax software that we're going to be using. And then last but not least, we have Tanya Budge, who is a manager that actually oversees the day-to-day role of our outsourced accounting team. So she's the one that will be, in the weeds, if you will, and in the trenches with all of you that may elect to use this service. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kenny so he can go through and talk about the wonderful process that we have here with our outsourced accounting solution. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Stephen. Today, our aim is to keep at a high level of what our services are, what we do, and how we do it. It really helps to see the capabilities of the software programs we're using to create efficiencies in the accounting processes, produce real-time data for town supervisors, town board, anybody within your finance department that needs to see information at a moment's notice to make key decisions. Our co-sourcing accounting team, it can be any back office operation that you're looking for. One of our main benefits would be stability and staffing. As Stephen mentioned, it's a time where the workforce is choosing other alternatives, and with us, you only need to train our team one time, come in, and we're with you as long as you'll have us. It can be very costly to have employee turnover, and with us, you have a long-term solution. So what we really aim to do is combine technology and our expertise. What our main platform we're using there would be Sage Intacct. It's a cloud-based accounting platform, and you see it here in front of you on my screen share. Sage Intacct is a full ERP system. It has full accounting platform capabilities. We have the different modules here, being cash management, where you might reconcile your bank accounts payable, where we would pay all your bills. Accounts receivable for any invoices coming through. But what we really want to bring to you would be your dashboard. This is where you can consolidate all of your reporting, identify different data points, all in one screen. Here on the dashboard, we have, performance cards. Every single thing that we're able to do here in Intact and what our team provides is fully customizable. So what you see here today in this demonstration is all fake data, and it is all fully customizable. So what we have here is typical data points that are helpful for our clients, being what's my cash at a moment's notice up here, compared to prior month, compared to prior year, compared to budget, have it by fund. These are data points that can be right in your face through the cloud and accessible anytime, anywhere. Again, we can have accounts receivable, accounts payable, property taxes, expenditures versus budgets, and trend indicators. The days of waiting 15, 30 days for month-end reports, statement of revenue, expenditures, balance sheets, those days we'd like to put behind us. We are on a continuous close is what we call it. We're always working in real time for you, and therefore you always have up-to-date data. As we work, this dashboard would update in real time. And as I mentioned, these performance cards, they can be drilled into. So, okay, I've got cash of 4 million. I drill into it. Now I have all my bank accounts right in front of me. One click further, I have now gone into the general ledger report. So within 2 clicks, you can see a full balance and down into the detail. Moving forward through what we've provided as a sample capability within the dashboard, statement of revenue and expenditures by fund. We can have as many funds as you would like displayed individually, side by side, in a consolidated or in an expanded detailed view area. We've put in trend indicators, actual versus budget, a difference, and then we've had them all side by side and rolled up at the end. What's extremely helpful and beneficial of Intact is that we are able to tag every transaction that comes into your system by fund, by program. So here I have a full view of the entire town. If I were to just filter by the general fund, hit apply, I've now isolated into general fund, and all my reports have now updated to display just that data. So this can be extremely helpful to management when they need to quickly find where they're at a moment's notice and make key decisions. Let me flip it back to all funds. Like I said, these are what are called dimensions, and we can splice and dice your data in any way you'd like to see customized reports. For programs here, we've got, For programs here, we've got, this is another dimension where we can tag it by any area that can be of value. As mentioned, we have customized reports. So this one would be a year to date and consolidated. So if I were to click into property taxes, drill down, I can then isolate that. But down here we have a month to date, which is fully expanded. So where we had department income before, now it's expanded down here. So it's really just a matter of how you want to see it displayed. Department income as one line where I can drill in and have it expanded at that point, or I want to see it like this. I think that my settings were still on general fund. Okay, we're back to fully consolidated. As we move down, Intact can produce other metrics that matter. So perhaps there's certain individuals, board members, whoever, that would like to see financial data in a different format. I understand that statement of revenue, expenditures, balance sheets, those are traditional, but what do they mean? How can we bring the finance picture to life? Well, we can add graphs, we can add pie charts, we can add statistical information. We can have, as many household owners as you have in the area, divide that by taxes, divide that expenditures, get metrics that matter.
Hey, Kenny, that's a great point that you mentioned there. We're talking about financial data here in your dashboards, but if the town wants to include non-financial data, let's say they want to include lane miles or something and come up with some dashboards that say, what's our cost per lane mile? That can be a dashboard and a data point that's on this main screen. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are able to add any statistical information in and then couple that with financial, do any sort of calculations need to be done, and we can produce a scorecard right here, and you can compare it to this year, last year, to budget, something that can be very helpful when making decisions. Moving a little bit farther down the dashboard, again, just more capabilities. We can have your revenue and expenses by month, so you can see a nice clear picture month over month compared to budget, compared to fund over fund. And then, of course, a standard balance sheet. We can have it. We would have it by fund as well, and then consolidated. Cash flows, all your traditional reports are here. Again, a fully customizable system. You're not limited to one dashboard. We would implement and build as many different ones as you would need. We have another example of an operational dashboard, which has more trend indicators, more expansion, month to date, year to date, by fund. We have another one called Program Board to show as an example that lists your entire general ledger accounts and all of their budgets on a month-to-month basis. So at a moment's notice, you can say, what's my total budget for taxes? What's it in February? I might need to make a revised budget. You can see that picture very clearly and in real time and accessible anytime, anywhere, 24/7. This is a cloud-based system. There is no hardware involved. You just need internet access. You could be anywhere in the world and access your information. So in the interest of time, I'll move forward off of Intact and go into how we process payables. One of our largest services, one of our biggest needs from our clients is to handle their accounts payable processing. Who's going to pay my bills, make sure everything's entered correctly and on time. For that service, we are able to combine a state-of-the-art bill pay platform called Bill.com. Bill.com is another cloud-based system, which all of your check payments, we can do ACH payments, all of your approval workflow seamlessly integrates with Intact. Intact is an open API system, which is application program interfacing, which means that two systems can talk together, free flow information back and forth. All the information that is put into Bill.com, all the data goes into Intact for your expense portion of your revenue and expenditures. We are able to create efficiencies through Bill.com. Our team typically works remote. We can certainly be on site when necessary. However you would like us to work together. We see ourselves as a partnership. But within Bill.com, you would land on this overview page, which would give you a clear picture of how many bills are currently approved to pay, how many bills total. You've got a nice snapshot of who the people are that need to approve bills. Greg needs 6 to approve. I need 1. This is an automatic approval workflow. So when I hit approve and there's more than one approver on the bill, it automatically goes into their inbox. Bills, invoices can be entered into the system several different ways. One of them would be your vendors directly email your Bill.com. We could have ourtown@bill.com, and it would be an electronic system. We're trying to really move into the modern era here, the days of envelope stuffing, paper checks, all that. There's a cost to all that, and there's an efficiency factor to it. If we can have the vendor send it right to here, we can enter it in just a couple minutes and get it paid. Your accounts payable turnaround time could be extremely streamlined. You can also scan and upload invoices to here as well. If there is paper copy, you can also take a picture with your phone. There's a very advanced Bill.com mobile app that allows you to upload invoices, make approvals, and make payments from anywhere. You also have an entire vendor history in your pocket as well with the app, and also on this cloud-based system. Any bill that's ever been paid for a certain vendor, they have a file. You can go and you can look. If I click out, that's the recent ones, but this would be all the bills ever paid. And you can go and you can review. You can see the picture of the bill. You can see who entered it, how much it was for. So it's really nice if there's ever a dispute with your vendors, you can say, well, I've got the information right here. What's also nice is an audit trail for every single transaction that happens in bill.com. You can see the date that it was created, every single change that's happened to the bill. So if it got approved or denied, you can see why, answer a lot of questions that way. So everything that's in the system is tracked, audit trail, and you can get your payments out in an extremely efficient manner. You can also export like a full list of bills to pay if you needed to have hand signatures or a large list of your bill pay. You can have that exported from the system as well. So as mentioned, that accounts payable would then flow right into bills, and your bills would show up here. There's a link sending you back to bill.com. And if you did want to cut manual checks out of this system, you are also able to do that by within AP. You have a print checks option. You have a manual checks option. This system is a full accounting platform. You are able to cut checks out of here if you would like. So that's the overview of the software. I think I'll switch over to a little bit of our benefits and our levels of service. Second here. So as I mentioned, our team truly supplies the stability and staffing, right? We see ourselves as a long-term solution. We partner, with our clients, and we work together. You train us one time, you don't have to worry about us leaving or that institutional knowledge really leaving your town. So once we're there, we have a depth bench. We have a team of resources. So if I'm sick or if I'm taking a vacation, I would never do, but if I did, we have a whole team of people who are very intimately cross-trained with your organization, and we would be able to have an uninterrupted service. And we would have somebody there to pick up the call if at any point in time you needed something at a moment's notice. We typically have been able to reduce business costs for our clients. We have a flat fee base, which would, we didn't want to fall into a traditional sense of hourly for our service, because we don't want to have our clients feel as though they can't pick up the phone and call us, or if they do, they're on the clock. We try to scope out what exactly specific responsibilities your town needs from us. We can fit in with current employees. Someone's retiring, we can replace. However, you would want us to, a la carte service fit into your organization. And once we scope what those specific responsibilities are, we can implement accordingly and determine a fair flat fee, so you can have a budgeted amount and you know what you're getting. As mentioned in the intake portion, real-time reporting, accessible anytime, anywhere. We would have to establish the frequency in which you would like, your banks reconciled, your bills paid, any other services that you're looking to have our team perform for you. But once we do, you can access it anytime, anywhere, 24/7. Able to provide the statistical and other metrics. And really, we want to make your life easier. So what can we do to free up your time, free up other towns employees' times, and put the financial information in safe hands. Cloud-based, no hardware, no software. It's all on the internet. Improved controls. We have actually we found and corrected fraud in some of our clients, because it's over on our team. So if something isn't looking quite right to us, and we're able to bring it to management's attention, dive deeper, and we would have only view only to any cash, so there's no risk of us having access to your accounts and whatnot. But we have been able to uncover it as a third party for clients. And then, of course, expert advice on a regular basis. You partner with the Bonadio group, you have the full breadth of the firm. So, for someone like myself, my niche is not taxes, but if I have a tax question that comes to me, I can send an email out to 1,000 employees and I get 1,000 answers back, all expert advice. You can't necessarily replicate that in a single hire. Just a quick overview of what our services might look like. They can be more than this, they can be less than this, but it essentially is, you know, your typical financial statements, accounts payable processing, bank reconciliations. We can send this deck along after the presentation. And then that brings us to our service levels. So we typically would fall into 3 different categories: basic accounting, a controller type role, or a CFO type role. Those names might be more specific to your organizations, but this is not as I mentioned in the beginning, an end all be all. If you need tax cap calculations and you need bank recs and that's it, we can help with those 2 things. We would piece together from bronze, from silver, from gold, and to fit your needs.
Yeah, that's a great point, Kenny. When you think about how this is structured, every single government in town is unique in terms of what level of service they need. We may be coming into a situation where we're supplementing the staffing, and therefore you don't need a full complement of one of these buckets. In other situation, we might be replacing a body, and therefore you might need more of the buckets. The idea is that it's a fully flexible, fully adaptable plan that we will customize to your needs. And whether it's, as Ken said, from the dashboards all the way through to the service levels, that's really what we're trying to do, is develop a package that is not canned. It's not specific that you fit this mold and you do what we tell you. We're trying to develop a process and have a procedure where this serves your needs in your community, so that it's more transparent, more available, more accessible, and ready for you at your fingertips to really bring, as Kenny said, governments into the current form of operation and be more effective and more efficient. We've got annual update document on here. That's one of the things that we would assist with. Our GL structure will be built around the New York State Chart of Accounts, which will allow for a more easy conversion and implementation into their software down the road. The state is changing their methodology for that, so there'll be more ability to import and drop in. So this makes this even much more seamless. So it's a lot of great opportunities and great options. And Kenny, is there anything else that you wanted to cover before we turn this back to Steve?
I would say that would be it. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, great. And Stephen, thank you very much for giving us a chance to present this opportunity to you and an ISAC and all the potential clients. And there's some contact information for Ken Pink Jr. or any of us. I think you'll probably share. And again, I'll turn it back to you. Thank you.
Okay, I really appreciate this opportunity. Ken, thank you very much for walking our listeners through, our viewers through this new CoSource. And I think that's an important term, CoSource. CoSource means that you want to work together with a local government. The goal of this project, or this offering, if you will, is not to displace or take away someone's job. And I want to make that clear, because that word outsource sometimes has a negative connotation. This is really a solution. We are going through some very, very difficult times right now in public sector government, certainly in public health. We have a lot of vacancies going on, but so too here in municipal finance positions. So I did want to say thank you for referencing that word CoSource. So just a few questions before we wrap up here today. It sounds like you've been there. It sounds like you've done that, and there are lessons to be learned from all of your work across all of your clients in the public sector and perhaps in the private sector too. Can you talk about how the application of your government work? Do you work with governments right now, local governments, and how will that work lend itself towards this new program?
Yeah, thank you. So obviously, as a full service CPA firm, we have a tremendous amount of clients where we perform both external audits as well as various consulting arrangements. Tiny's in a few clients where she's actually acting as the interim, finance person, doing their books for them, in a different capacity and not using this software. And so we've got a lot of exposure there, and that's really the greatest benefit. A lot of solution providers out there are either just a software package or they're just people that are bookkeepers. What we're talking about is a full service slate of CPAs that are fully knowledgeable in government accounting at New York State. And so you've really got the best of both worlds when it comes to this software package. So that's where we see the huge benefit in this solution is it's not just one person doing your bookkeeping. As Kenny said, we've got fraud examiners, we've got everyone available to us. So if we see anomalies, we see things going on, we're going to make those suggestions, we're going to make those inquiries, and we're going to make sure that everything is on a straight and level.
You know, Randy, I'm so glad that you answered that question in that manner. One of the most frequent requests that we get is, Steve, we have a gap. Steve, we have a position open. We don't know yet how to fill it. We have a need. We have a need for an interim finance position or an interim public official to help during this gap period. And I'm so glad that you mentioned it that way. Very important for our listeners to know that. Let me talk about cybersecurity. Let me talk about the nature. Bonadio is a leader in cybersecurity practices, best practices for local governments, and you have been doing this now for several years. Can you talk about the safety and security of this accounting program with respect to potential cyber attacks?
Kenny, I'll let you tackle that question.
Yeah, absolutely. There is certainly extensive measures that are taken by Sage Intacct and both Bill.com to protect information. For example, Bill.com, they never expose your bank account. When there is payments to be made, they will sweep your account for the funds, and then they will send individual checks out of their account, so that their account is on the bottom of those checks and never yours. There's two-step authorization for sign-ins, and there is a large additional amount of security that I could send additional information for if that would help with the package we send.
These are national caliber type organizations, Steve. And Bill.com is used by Chase. So Chase is an authentic dealer with Bill.com to give you any sense for the security measures being provided on a national platform.
Thank you. Let me just ask a couple of more questions. It's just so exciting, this opportunity here. The time frame for onboarding. Let's say a local official contacts Bonadio at this contact information that we're seeing right here, and says, I'd like to have a consult, and let's say the board ultimately approves this type of relationship, gets the document signed. What is the time frame for onboarding this program, training and so forth? How quickly can something like this be stood up in a local government?
Yeah, absolutely. So from an immediate need, we have in the past jumped in on current systems while we look to implement the updated software. I would say that IntactBill.com, by the time we are all up and running, would be about 4 to 8 weeks. I know that's a large window, but based on the complexity of dashboards, customization you would request, and training for individuals who'll be using it, we would move all of your information over from old current systems to Intacct, build all the reports, and that implementation period is typically, it could be as short as a month and as long as 8 weeks. But really just depends too on how much historical data you'd want to bring in for year-over-year comparison. If you needed just last year to this year, that would be a shorter amount of implementation time than if you wanted like 10 years back or more.
Okay, last question, two-part. First part is Bonadio familiar with the Office of the State Comptroller and all the financial reporting requirements that are required of our local governments for reports for the public and reports for the state that we need to be in compliance with? And secondly, if you could just talk about that flat fee one more time, about the cost of this type of program for our local governments.
I'll talk about the fee quickly, then Tanya, if you can chime in afterwards and talk about our role with the OSC and what we do already with them. So yeah, the flat fee, as I said, each of those levels, we develop a flat fee for that. As you can imagine, the gold level service will be the higher cost than the bronze. The idea is we want to develop a flat, controllable, manageable cost for government so that from a budgetary perspective, they know what's there. There's a one-time implementation fee. when we first come in, but going forward, it is just the monthly ongoing cost. And that's really what, one of the huge benefits. And I think one thing I forgot to mention, Stephen, was, from an audit perspective, for these towns that are getting audits, we can assist and reduce the cost on the back end related to the audits they're getting, because we'll be able to provide more readily auditable and even prepared financial statements that the town may not normally be able to provide. And it might even eliminate, management letter comments or weaknesses that they've gotten in the past for the inability to prepare financial statements. So we can help with a lot of those controls. And then Tanya, if you want to talk about our experience with OSC.
Yeah, so oftentimes we've been involved with a lot of our clients already with the either assistance with the preparation of the AUD or the annual update document, or actually preparing it from beginning to end in that submission. So we're very familiar with the requirements of that report and helping our clients.
Yeah, and normally right now, we do receive, feedback and communication from the controllers, examiners, and so we're regularly in contact with many of them, and we also have contacts with OSC's regulatory unit, so some of the representatives in their regulatory unit. So we sometimes address issues that we see across our clients. They sometimes have new examiners that don't understand certain components, so we'll work with the regulatory unit and say, hey, they're not getting this. They keep asking us the same question, and so we're really kind of looking out globally by having to have all these clients and that access that we have.
Well, I want to thank the Bonadio Group, Kenneth Pink Sr., Kenneth Pink Jr., and it's nice to see the family continuing to work in this business and the generations that you've dedicated in your life in the Pink family. Randall Shepard, Tanya Budge, thank you so much for all that you are doing in this new offering. We will post this webinar on the website of the New York State Association of Counties at www.nisac.org. Thank you. This will conclude today's webinar.
Thank you.